Miss Freeman, can you hear me? Your audio is off. It's still off. Do you see something with like a microphone on it? There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Excuse me. Just wanted to let you know that we have not started court yet. So if you go ahead and just wait patiently and put yourself back on mute, when the case is called, the judge will give you a moment to talk, okay?
Do you know which case I'm here for?
Uh, were you told to appear today or?
It's for Eder Mazate.
Yes, that's who it's for.
Okay,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
think we are ready. I'm going to talk to you about Mr. Marmar or chat, Mr. Mercer. It's just
Thank you.
Where would you like to start?
I think we could start with the iPad. There's a couple people on the iPad, and since we have the iPad there, the officer's been nice enough to stay with us. Vivian Saylor is there on the iPad on 17, and that is 280254391. This is a request to enter a plea of guilty to 1 count of criminal trespass. And just so the court's aware, this was a case where she was released a year ago. It looked like our office had raised competency on it, and it was pending a out-of-state or an out-of-custody competency evaluation. I've had a conversation with Ms. Saylor. I've had to discuss all the things that would potentially be issues that I believe would raise competency, and I didn't see anything. He's been able to answer all my questions appropriately, seems to understand where she is, what our roles are, what she's doing today, and what she wants to do in her case. So we are asking the court to strike the request to have her evaluated for competency. We are asking to resolve it.
Does the city have any objection?
No. Jason Mercer on behalf of the city of SeaTac.
Ms. Saylor, do you feel comfortable going forward today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have a document here entitled Statement of, and I will rescind the court's order to for 1077 evaluation. And then moving forward, I have a document here entitled Statement of Defendant on Plea of Guilty. Towards the bottom of it, on the line that says defendant's signature, it's blank. Have you not signed it yet just because you had no way to sign it?
Yes. No, I have not signed it because I have no way.
If you had had a way to sign it, would you have signed it?
Yes.
SCORE will give you a chance to sign it after this hearing. Do you promise to sign it at that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you reviewed this form with your attorney, did he read it to you? Did you read it by yourself, or did you read it together?
He read it to me. We read it together.
And was he able to answer any questions that you had?
Yes, Your Honor.
As I review this form with you, please stop me at any time if you'd like to ask him another question, okay? Is your true and correct name Vivian O. Saylor?
Yes.
And you're 21 years old and have completed the 11th grade?
Yes.
You're pleading guilty to the crime of criminal trespass in the 1st degree. Do you understand the elements of that crime? In other words, what the city would have to prove if you were to take this to trial?
Yes.
By entering into this plea, you're giving up a number of very important constitutional rights. Among these are the right to a speedy and public trial, to remain silent during that trial or to choose to testify, to see, hear, and question witnesses who would testify against you, to have witnesses testify on your behalf at no expense to you, to the presumption of innocence unless and until a jury were to find you guilty, and to appeal a finding of guilt. Do you understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yes.
The crime of criminal trespass in the 1st degree is a gross misdemeanor punishable by up to 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
I know your attorney and the city attorney have an agreed recommendation, but the court does not have to follow that and can sentence you anywhere up to the maximum. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Did anyone make, do you understand in the event you're not a citizen, a guilty finding on this charge may be grounds for deportation, denial of naturalization, or exclusion from the United States? Did anyone make any promises to you to get you to enter into this plea?
No.
Did anyone make any threats to get you to enter into this plea?
No.
Are you doing this of your own free will?
Yes.
In paragraph 11, there's a statement that reads, on July 19th, 2022, in SeaTac, Washington, I knowingly entered and remained in the Hilton Hotel without lawful authority to be there. I know your attorney wrote that statement, but do you adopt it as your own statement?
Yes.
And is it a true statement?
Yes.
As to the crime of criminal trespass in the 1st degree, how do you plead?
Guilty.
We'll accept the plea. I do believe it's knowingly, voluntarily, intelligently made, and there's a factual basis to support it. Mr. Mercer, anything to add to the sentencing recommendation?
There isn't, thank you.
Mr. Ionati?
This is an agreed recommendation. Ms. Saylor is currently on Social Security Disability, so she's hoping the court can waive any of her costs. She's indicated she can comply with the other conditions and is hoping that the court gives her the benefit of a deferred sentence. I calculated she'd been in custody, I think 7 days initially and then 4 days. Recently just
I
has
don't think
11 days.
because we're deferring sentence, I'm not going to do any. of
That's
the-
fine. That's, I just letting the court know that she likely has credit for 11 days eventually. And someone else can figure that out at a later date if that ever becomes an issue. But so she's hoping the court follows this recommendation, releases her on this case.
Thank you. Ms. Saylor, is there anything that you'd like to say?
No.
I'm going to follow the agreed recommendation for a deferred sentence. And I will defer sentence for 2 years on condition that you attend all future court appearances, have no new criminal law violations, no contact with the Hilton Hotel at 17620 International Boulevard in SeaTac, Washington, and update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes. And the address we have on file is on South 260th Street in Federal Way. Is that still a good mailing address?
Yeah, it's 2020 South.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good luck to you, Ms. Saylor. I hope that you get the benefit of the deferred sentence. You know, don't get into trouble for the next 2 years, and this case will be dismissed.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think the next person is going to be Miss
Matos?
Matos. Yeah, Matos.
Yep.
Your Honor, there's a request to have Miss Matos evaluated under 1077. This is Tajana Marie Matos, and it's case number 3A00344175. She's indicated she missed court. Well, she didn't actually believe she missed court. She indicated that she thought this was June and that she had court on the 15th of June when I indicated when it was, and she said she's here for that right now. I explained that it's July and that she missed in June. There was some discussion about the dates and what the docket said. There's also some confusion over what occurred in Renton, and she believed that that matter was dismissed. Even though
I thought that's my apologies.
based on the conversations we've had, I believe having her evaluated under 1077 is appropriate.
I know that's, may I say something?
As long as you're not talking about the case, but
I got my mental health evaluation done through Sound Integrated Health,
So this is,
by the way.
this is a different sort of evaluation. This is not this is an evaluation as to whether you understand the nature of the proceeding against you and can assist in your own defense. Those are the only two things they're evaluating you for. So it's
Yes, ma'am.
different from a mental health evaluation.
Okay.
Does the city have any objection to the ordering of the evaluation?
No, the city was requesting bail.
So does that mean that I would be able to be released today?
Well, that's what I'm going to decide right now. The
Okay.
city is asking that bail remain. Mr. Ionati?
and Your Honor, I'm giving you, I went over the several failures to appear with Ms. Matos, and it sounds like there may be some confusion on her part as to when she's supposed to show up for court, and that's why she's been missing. And I indicated the last one is based on her.
I never forgot about court, just a heads up.
her belief that it's June and that it's not July, I think is what caused the most recent issue. And I tried to go through some holidays to figure out whether that might clue her in as to what the date is, but so she's indicated she would show up out of custody. But
I didn't celebrate the 4th because I was here.
she indicated she was, yeah,
I'm looking back through the docket. You failed to appear 3 times on this case. You've missed 3 different court dates, and you have active warrants out of another.
Australia.
Yeah, based on that, I don't believe you'll come back to court if I set this out of custody. So I'm going to maintain bail where it is.
I do have my own apartment. I have spoken to my parents, and they already told me that they can take me to court. So I've already handled those steps.
I have concerns about your willingness then to appear for court, since you failed to appear 3 times.
You have my word that I'll go. I remember us talking about this last time. You said that if I don't, I would have to stay for the year.
I don't believe I said that because you have not been found guilty of anything. So I
Oh,
couldn't.
then, sorry, it must have been another judge. My apologies.
Okay. Well, I'm going to maintain bail where it is. We'll set this on for a return date of July 31st.
July 31st.
And probable cause was previously found in this matter on March 2nd. Bail remained $2,500.
And it was reduced to 1,500, I believe.
Nope, today's the first hearing after the failure to appear, so it hasn't been reduced to anything. That was the last warrant. Every time you fail to appear, the bail amount goes up.
Okay. And I've been here since Friday as well.
Okay. All right, ma'am, we'll see you back here on July 31st. All previously imposed conditions remain in full force and effect. Speedy trial is told.
And that'll be in person?
Correct, on the from jail.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so today they already have my release paperwork?
So I'm not releasing you bail unless you can post $2,500 bond.
I have to stay here at SCORE?
Unless you can post $2,500 bond. Yes.
So you want me to stay here till the 30th?
31st, yes.
I never miss my court date though.
You've missed 3 court dates so far. In this case,
I'm talking about the most recent one.
you missed court. That's why you're in jail right now, because you missed.
No, they brought me in here because they thought that I had a warrant for renting. I told them that I beat my renting court case and that I have SeaTac and Centralia.
Okay, well, you're in custody for SeaTac right now and $2,500 bond because you failed to come to court on June 15th was your hearing, and you did not come to court, and a warrant issued for $2,500. All right, thank you. We'll see you back here in July. Can you please give the iPad back to the guard?
Thank you. I'll be taking you over to Mara next.
okay, we probably can address, well, we're headed over to Marmar. We probably can address the person in the room. That's, I believe, Miss Chen Setharith Chan Dong Chan. Is that right, ma'am? If you can use the mouse to click on the little red unmute button. It's on the, so use the mouse in front of you to click on the red unmute button on the screen. It's on the lower left-hand corner of the.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, you got it. And does the city have a motion?
I do. I was hoping to have the III results back before making this decision. I don't have those, so the decision I am making without that information is to dismiss without prejudice to await the blood results.
Any objection?
No objection.
Motion to dismiss is granted. So you'll be released on this case today, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Longton, make sure you keep your address up to date with the Department of Licensing, because if in the event the city refiles, they're going to be sending you a notice to come back to court.
Yes.
And so if your address is not up to date and they send you notice, then it is possible a warrant could get issued. Okay.
You want to
Yes.
make sure you're going to get that notice.
Yes, I live on 21800 Parks Highway, South Apartment A 409, Des Moines, Washington, 98198.
Just. Yeah, that's what we have. That's what's your current DOL address. So just make sure that's up to date. Okay.
Yes.
If you do move. Okay. Thank you.
I believe the officers with Mr. Mazzate, is that right?
We're going to Mara Mara. You can tell the guards
Oh,
you're done.
Mara, that's
You're done
right,
with the
Mara.
hearing. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, thank you.
That's right. This is Mr. Marmara.
I'm gonna trash all these orders and we're just gonna do.
Am I all set?
Yes, you're all set. Thank you. On Mr. Marmara's case, are we just setting over?
There's a release date for tomorrow. I think we're asking to,
Hang on, we have an interpreter. If we're actually,
There we are.
I'm just want to make, the orders don't make sense to me is what I'm trying to figure out. Mr. Sinisi, can you please make your appearance for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Since Washington State Court certified small language interpreter, the small mouth open file for AOC.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
And I think I can go first briefly.
Loyal City.
I believe if everyone remembers, Mr. Mara was released so much in a confusion, was released in error, and was not able to make his last release to treatment.
Le Kalaleloya. Mr. Mara lenga kakala ikua ongo se ole limo kingoa ya le yalu oile treatment.
And I'm looking at an email between Ms. Chinweller and the Recovery Navigator Program.
Aleva vaile imilile maile pokalamile al navikino ma maleloya le.
And a representative from that program can take him to treatment tomorrow.
Kamay o pokalama finga vea oi kayao.
July 18th
July suwan.
at 7:30 in the morning.
Perfikul kayao.
At least my intention was to ask for bail in these cases.
Ole mga ole loyale ale siri kausanga mo se peri from sionga yaoi.
With a caveat that I put into the pretrial release form
Ya ako mas se fapoponga inungo le ole pepadanga kuinga.
that he can be released on that date and time to the Recovery Navigator Program representative.
Pai onga kalanga aku makuinga ko ile suyo male navigator program.
With a future court date set in the pretrial matter.
Ya ako mas aso lumanga iko so il fam singonga le melo le pitra.
And I don't know if it's been discussed how to make this readily apparent to SCORE so that they don't miss it.
E leo mau ki ngope whawhianga whakalangol ka pule I ailoa le skoa ia wangi misia le wangolea.
But perhaps a separate email by one of the parties of the court to SCORE with that information.
Ia, masalo se email e se mai ai I le skoa ma le whamkalangal nga.
And I suppose the record should be clear that it's not Mr. Maramara's fault that he did not make treatment the last time.
Ka waionga whamauinga rungo whamaumaunga e lo se seo Mr. Maramara le ngā ringa misil chemical wai.
I think it should all be on one commitment order, which I've entered.
Kala ramsingo e kasi le whakunga e le pepa ave maimeanga.
Mr. Ainati, what is the defense position on that?
That's,
Ya David laudo ia pula ale kulang ai o ia ki ka pula.
we're joining in that request.
Le awai whakasi I le karsangal nga.
And Mr. Marmar did indicate that he lost his paperwork when he was released.
Mr. Mara wale lol pepa inga wakala ia ku.
He was confused by who he was supposed to meet with.
Le o mau kungia wa sa kaunga nga whilo ai oe maraka le.
And I don't know if it's necessary, but he indicated that he did try and get back in touch with the crisis coordinator.
Le whai mai rang kam whai lawa ia oe soka ia kumale kakalea karinira le crisis o kalama.
But that meant going back to the airport.
Na valid.
I'm adding in all caps, do not release defendant until the representative is there.
Le wo kala whamasingo le wo koe whapopo I runga pepa awangi kala o kua wa ngā ua sauia le sui representative ave oi.
Mr. Ainati, how long is this program?
Ia pola le umia po kalame lea.
I believe it's 28 days.
That was my understanding. It's a standard inpatient.
Le kalanga le loia le si o ronga mamanga fulinga.
The next available port calendar following what an anticipated release date is not until September 5th.
Le so le whamauinga e karepola so lima o sistema.
There's one on August 15th, but I believe he'll likely still be, or that may be the day of his release from the program.
Ila so sfulu lima misalo la so nga kalai e mai po kalama.
We'll set this for September 5th.
Sistema lima.
With that, I think that we need a speedy trial waiver, Mr. Ainati.
Kala whamasingo ia David e ni le speedy trial waiver.
And Mr. Marmara,
Mr. Marmara.
The city has the obligation to take your case to trial within certain amounts of time.
Le aya kaule em feonga felom singa ilikani fufuinga.
If you're in custody, the city has to bring your case to trial within 60 days of the date of your arraignment.
Mai laso le olo remin e kaonga fai from the city fa singa kongoleongo suasu ka fa pela loka oi.
If you're out of custody, the city needs to bring your case to trial within 90 days of your arraignment.
Fa pela kala ku e kaonga fai from singa kongoliwa suaso mai le asunga arraign ai oi.
One of your cases is still in pretrial status. We've discussed continuing that case for you to get into the inpatient program. But because we are continuing the case, the city would need additional time to take the case to trial. And so they're agreeing to this on the condition that you sign an extension of that speedy trial, right?
Speedy trial waiver.
What was the date the court said again?
September, shoot, I just closed it.
5th, I think.
5th, yes, you're right, Mr. Mercer, at 8:30.
Meaning we would be extending speedy through December 4th of 2023.
Mara, speedy trial waiver ya se tema fa. Yes.
So when you come back to court in September, if you wanted to go to trial, the city would have until December 4th to take it to trial.
Okay. Yes.
Are you okay with this?
Okay.
And is this what you want to do?
Yes.
The objection from the city.
No.
City.
I will accept the speedy trial waiver and grant the request for continuance.
Speedy trial waiver
Mr. Mara, we will do everything possible this time to make sure SCORE is aware of the plan.
Mr. Mara, olela akong fai fam singong fai umamem fo kong fai nga yailoa ele skoale me kong fai.
And make sure that you make it to that bed date.
Yama imo kingoi ke alu ile moinga ngale mo kaliai oi.
As Mr. Mercer said, we certainly don't hold you responsible for SCORE's mistake.
Ya, pero kala le loya si Mr. Mercer ele se oi ele se oi ele mesia a skoale nga yai.
No, that I put asterisks around it and used some all caps and some small caps to make it super visible.
Kung fai lau fam singoi ile ngangai lungol pepa ia makwa mamalama li yai.
But can
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
please email SCORE as well?
Yes, I was just going to do that.
Okay.
La belia ko i skoa.
What I will say is not golden, but
All right, I really look forward to seeing you in September, Mr. Mara. So remember, you have to come back to court here in the courthouse on September 5th.
Le mga fam singo mag kingo ke ko sau ya se tema 5 afal baru kaya I le fam singo le SeaTac. Ah?
ano sa una valid.
Lan mana valid.
Ano sa aule le court no the federal waiver.
Judge is asking where the court is. They has to come.
It's in SeaTac on 188th Street, right by the freeway.
Lungo le kasi walu mai le freeway. Laka freeway. Street sa walu I SeaTac on menga le fam singo.
Yo.
Okay.
The address is right on the top of the order.
Le fakungan wa kya ngai lungo address, ah?
Yo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mara. We'll see you back here in September.
Thank you.
Ja, stemma. Okay, Fafkela, Mr. Mara.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sinisi. I think that's your only one, right?
Yes, thank you so much, John. Have a blessed week.
You as well.
Thank you, David.
Yes, and I think the iPad's headed to Mr. Mazzate next. And I know that, but I don't see her now. The gentleman in the room is Mr. Tima, is that correct? Mr. Tima, we're gonna need to have you unmute, use the mouse to click on the red. Do you want to handle Mate first, since it looks like the Mazzate first? I believe that it'll be relatively, I mean, not relatively quick, but the officer is probably going to be there relatively soon.
Yeah, I'll be there in about 30 seconds or less.
Because we have I know that the alleged victim keeps popping in and out.
Yeah.
Mr. Tima, we'll be with you in one moment.
Then when you're done with Mazzate, I'll check in on Mr. Daniel.
This is Eder Giovanni Mazzate here for arraignment on 3A04153666. Is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes,
And your date of birth is March 9th, 1995?
correct.
Earlier, we went over your rights to arraignment. Any questions about your rights I wasn't able to answer?
I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Any questions about your rights at arraignment that I wasn't able to answer?
No, sir.
Your Honor, I have gone over the charge, the maximum penalty, the mandatory minimum penalty. Would acknowledge the complaint, wait for a reading, ask him to plead not guilty.
If not guilty, will enter. I do find probable cause to detain. I'm sorry, you seeking direct appointment in this?
Where's that? No, he needs to screen, Your Honor.
Okay. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
Thank you. The city seeking bail in the amount of $10,000, so is objecting to release, asking for conditions and no criminal law violations, abiding by the multiple active no contact orders that are, as I said, currently active. Basis for the bail is that this particular no contact order was just issued by the King County Superior Court June 27th. So we are 21 days approximately from that. And there's a probable cause finding in an allegation now that he was attempting to travel out of the country with the protected party in that order. That order was issued under what I would consider a pretty serious egregious facts on a pending felony domestic violence involving the same protected party that was originally referred as a kidnapping charge, but is now pending as assault for and unlawful imprisonment. In addition to that, Mr. Mazzati has a significant prior domestic violence history that appears to be with another victim in that case. So he's now, 6 total other DV charges, including 2 VNCOs and 1 assault for domestic violence, that he's currently on some type of other deferral. I did not have the time to check whether or not that is an SOC or a deferred sentence, but he has some type of other deferral in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those other cases. I would assume that law-abiding behavior is a part of the conditions in those cases as well. So not only do we have what I would say is some concern for the victim's safety, serious concern for the victim's safety and the present no contact order, but there is a history here of at least charges supported by probable cause of other acts of violence, property destruction, and 2 specific allegations of failing to abide by another court's no contact order. So I do have a number of concerns why this individual should not just be PR'd, and I do believe a higher than a normal bail would be appropriate.
Any objection? And just a minute, no, I'm talking to Mr. Ainati right now. Any objection to those conditions?
And Your Honor, I know Mr. Mazzate is hoping that the court does not set bail. It sounds like he's on a limited income as far as his work situation. So he's if the court sets bail, he's unlikely to be able to post it. If the court does set bail, he's hoping the court doesn't exceed $1,000. He's indicated he would show up for court, and he's indicated he would abide by the court's conditions.
I'm going to follow the city's recommendation. Mr. Mazzate's history indicates to me that he will not abide by this court's order. He's been ordered by one court already not to have contact with Ms. Freeman, yet we have an on-view arrest. Given his history and the seriousness of the allegations that the no contact order stems from, I do have serious concerns for victim safety, and I am going to impose bail in the amount of $10,000.
Your Honor, may I say a couple words, please?
Not about the facts of this case, sir. You cannot talk about the facts or any sort of contact or your belief in whether there's or not.
None of that. It's just I've been taking preventative measures, to work on my well-being, and so it's like doing one-on-one group sessions, therapy sessions, and I am going to, I'm making plans to do more steps to get to a better mental spot in my life, and I feel like I've been doing a really good job at, staying away from all the negativity, and I'm doing my best that I can do, and I just wanted to say those couple of words.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I really am trying, and I've been cleaning up my life. I don't drink. I don't do anything. All I do is work 7 days a week. I'm trying to start my business, and this is just like a really setback. And I just want to let you know that I am making changes in my life, and I'm in solitary right now for some reason.
Sir, today is not a sentencing hearing. Today is not about what you're doing or not, the work that you're doing on yourself. And I appreciate all that. However, I don't believe you will abide by if I release you on your promise to appear with certain conditions, I don't believe you'll abide by them. Your history says otherwise. And the fact that where you are right now says otherwise. And I'm going to follow this recommendation. I will appoint SMH provisionally while you are in custody. If you're released from custody, you'll need to screen for the public defender. Additional conditions are that you attend all future court appearances, have no new criminal law violations, update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes. And the address we have on file is on 3rd Avenue in Black Diamond. Is that still a good mailing address?
Yes, Your Honor.
Abide by any and all no contact orders. Those are laws as far as you're concerned. It's not optional whether you violate, whether you abide by them or not. You have to. And you know for a fact that that's a crime because you've already been charged with it twice. This is your 3rd charge of the same crime. And do not own or possess any firearms. I believe you're already subject to an order to surrender, so I'm not going to enter one. Mr. Ainati, when would you like to set this over to?
Later this week, Your Honor.
And
Not
we do
tomorrow,
Thursday.
'cause, yeah.
Let's do Thursday. And I mean, you should be aware that the fact of this case is likely a violation of your conditions of release on your felony and could result in bail being imposed there as well. All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you on Thursday. If you don't post, as I said, though, if you post the bond, then you do have to screen for the public defender, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And they're gonna so we're gonna see Mr. Tice in a bit, but we can probably address. This is Mr. Hema. He is also here for arraignment. Tema 3A05222230. Is your true and correct name Tema? Make sure you speak up nice and loud.
Sir, is that your name? I
Oh,
can't hear you. Something's
click on the
wrong.
microphone, like the microphone unit right in front of you. Click on the button and then speak.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. Perfect. Thank you.
you.
So is your true and correct name Tima M. Tima?
Yes,
And your date of birth is May 19th, 1996?
yes.
Earlier today, I went over your rights at arraignment with you. Any questions about your rights that I wasn't able to answer?
No,
Your Honor, I've gone over the charge, the maximum penalty, and mandatory minimum penalty. We'd acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive formal reading, and ask to enter plea of not guilty.
Plea of not guilty will enter. I did find probable cause to detain yesterday. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
good.
Thank you. The city is objecting to release, asking for bail in the amount of $5,000, conditions of no criminal law violations, abide by a formal no contact order that is the city's request to be issued, and to surrender all firearms. This case, and no consumption or possession of non-controlled substances or alcohol. This case is alarming enough, but it does appear to be the second arrest and forwarding of charges in a domestic violence context. The other one was in 2020 to King County. It appears right as things were shutting down for COVID. So there is no charges that came from that. And I think we all are aware that King County did not file charges during COVID, so that could very well be the possible reason or explanation for that. But I have reported the report in that case, the super form, to the court and to defense. I find those facts to be alarming as well. And so their bail request is made not only from the concern from the victim in just the context of these facts, but also the context of the prior arrest. Additionally, he has 5 different active warrants that were active at the time of these alleged acts. And that is in 4 different courts. And so I have concerns for victim safety as well as his ability to appear if he were to be released without bail.
Any objection to those conditions?
We're hoping that the court considers releasing Mr. Tima without bail. He's indicated he can live with his sister. He's aware of the warrants and he's planning on taking care of them. He does not possess any firearms. He does need a civil standby. We are asking for a direct appointment in this case.
We'll direct appoint. And based on the 5 active warrants, I believe that Mr. Tima is a flight risk. And I'm sorry, what was the bail amount that you were requesting, Mr. Mercer?
It was 5,000 on it.
And I'm going to follow that recommendation. Does Mr. Tima own any firearms?
No, Your Honor.
I'm signing a no contact order indicating that you cannot have contact with Latia Tui. And that is this court's no contact order. It is not her no contact order. She cannot give you permission to have contact. It would still be a violation. No contact means absolutely no contact, no social media, texting, passing a message through a friend, waving across a parking lot, nothing. This order will stay in full force and effect until it is lifted or modified by this court and no other court. And I will grant the civil standby. I also do believe there's a nexus between substance use and the allegation involved in this case. I'm ordering that you not use or possess any alcohol, non-prescribed drugs, including marijuana, or possess any drug paraphernalia. And quash, if you are able to post the bond, that you quash the warrants in Montesano. What were the other jurisdictions?
Ones I'm not familiar with, Sumner, or the initials for Sumner, Federal Way, Faircrest, Montesano.
When would you like to set this over to?
Later this week, Your Honor.
You want to do Thursday as well?
That's fine.
Just, well, when you know where you'll be staying, if you do post bond, please call the court and let us know the address. And that's not just a request, that's in fact, the court's order that you keep your address updated. All right, thank you, sir.
So I released today
No, bond is $5,000.
about what?
What?
About what?
You have to post $5,000,
$5,000?
right? That's your bail.
Hey,
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll see you on Thursday.
all right, thank you.
The one refusal was Delva. And they're checking on Daniel. I've not spoken with Daniel yet.
Big Delva? Or is it
Delva refused,
Okay.
and it just sounds like he just needs some time. He's detoxing, so
And they're all reviews.
I was gonna say we could not set it to tomorrow, because just in case tomorrow's bad.
I don't want to set anything for tomorrow, exactly. Yeah. I created this mess and I take full responsibility, but at least I can mitigate it. What was bond in Delva? Or bail, is it 500 each? I'm sorry, I should have printed the calendar. That would have been the smart thing to do.
I printed the calendar, but for some reason it didn't
It's-
print page one.
It's 1,000 each, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
48 cases tomorrow morning, is that what everyone's talking about?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, good luck with that.
We'll make the jail calendar light for you, so you can sit there as we're dealing with the other calendar.
Okay, we'll set this on for Wednesday. You know, I've been prepping that calendar. It did take me 2 days. But it's not quite as bad as it looks.
Yeah, I've looked at it as well, but it all depends. There's a big factor in there that it depends on.
Yeah,
Right. Well, there are a lot of people with several cases.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of people.
I have Mr. Stewart with me tomorrow, so
Oh, okay.
he can go either, he has 2 speeds, one's real fast, the other's real slow, so
Well, make sure you set him to real fast.
yeah. Right. What was your last name, sir?
Thomas.
Oh, that's right. This is case number 3A05480399 for arraignment and 3A0275973 on for review proceeding with the arraignment. Is your true and correct name Jamani Khalil Thomas?
Yes, my name.
Your date of birth is March 28th, 1995.
Yes.
Earlier, we went over your rights at arraignment. Any questions about your rights I wasn't able to answer?
No.
I've gone over the charge, the maximum penalty, and the mandatory minimum penalty. We'd acknowledge the complaint, waive from a reading, and ask enter plea of not guilty.
Plea of not guilty will enter. I do find probable cause to detain and, I'm sorry, you're seeking direct appointment?
I believe he's going to need to screen for the public defender. Your Honor.
Okay, I need to trash this shoot. And review got entered after.
He does have the review matter where he's appointed to counsel.
I guess based on that, I think.
Sir, has your financial situation changed for the better at all since you last had the public defender appointed to your case?
No, not really.
I will direct appoint then based on that. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for pointing that out. Okay. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
Yeah, city's asking for bail and the amount of $500, no criminal law violations, no return to the airport as the primary conditions. He was just sentenced, as we were just talking about, and the public defender appointed, it looks like, excuse me, he was just sentenced May 3rd in this court for another trespass at the airport, which is a little over 2 months ago. So there is a violation of the conditions there by the probable cause finding in this case for law-abiding behavior, not going back to the airport. Also has extensive bench warrant history and 2 active warrants, one out of the Linwood Municipal Court and the other out of the Tacoma Municipal Court. In addition to, as I said, extensive history. So don't believe that he would abide by conditions of release or appear if released.
Any objection to those conditions?
Your Honor, Mr. Thomas is hoping the court releases him on his personal recognizance. He would show up for court out of custody. And they went over the conditions. He said he would abide by them. And it does not sound like there's any amount of bail he can post right now.
He's already been ordered to quash the warrants in Linwood and Kent by June 5th. That was back on May 3rd when he was ordered to quash them. And I'm looking in the Linwood docket and there's no indication that he even called. And he must have gone to Kent. Sir, I have doubts about your ability to appear or to follow this court's orders. I'm going to impose bail in the amount of $500 each case. I'm reasonably satisfied there's been a violation of, or do find probable cause to believe there's been a violation of conditions of sentence, specifically returning to the airport. We can set these on for either Wednesday or Thursday. Do you have a preference?
Wednesday, Your Honor.
And if you are able to, if you do post conditions of your release, or that you attend all future court appearances, have no new criminal law violations, update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes, and no contact with SeaTac International Airport or the rental car facility except for valid travel purposes.
Okay.
And quash the warrants in Linwood and Tacoma Municipal Courts.
Okay.
Your next hearing will be on July 19th at 11 in custody.
All right.
Thank you. And sir, do you still receive mail at the address on Crestwood Drive South in Seattle?
Say it again?
Do you still receive mail at the address on Crestwood Drive South?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. If that changes, be sure you update that.
What's the date today?
Today's the 17th, Monday, the 17th. So we'll see you back here on Wednesday, the 19th.
All right,
All right, thank you, sir.
thank you.
I believe this is Mr. Saturn Trace Charles, is that correct?
Yes,
And this matter is here for arraignment. Is your true and correct name? I guess I just said that, but is your true and correct name Saturn Place Charles?
yeah,
And your date of birth is,
October 11, 1997.
okay. Earlier, we went over your rights at arraignment. Did you have any questions about your rights that I was not able to answer?
No,
And Your Honor, I did go over the charge, the maximum penalty, the mandatory minimum penalties. We acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive for more reading, ask to enter plea of not guilty. He would need to screen. He also would benefit from a Chucky's interpreter. I talked to him about this. He understood enough today to understand setting conditions and understanding to come back to court.
yeah,
But I believe would benefit from a Chucky's interpreter for purposes of if we were to enter plea paperwork or potentially go to trial on this case.
yes.
What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
SeaTac.
Just 1 second, Mr. Charles. This
Oh.
is a question for the city, for the prosecutor.
Sorry for the delay, just checking one thing first. I was not going to object to a PR in this case. I don't have a III, so I'm not aware of this out-of-state history, but based on just this one case and his 2018 conviction, I don't object to a PR with conditions of no criminal law violations, no returning to the airport, please.
Plea of not, any objection to those conditions?
No objection to those conditions.
And I'm sorry, you're seeking direct appointment, right?
No, I think you have
This
to
was-
screen.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Okay. Sir, I will release you on your promise to appear on the following conditions. Oh, I'm gonna change that. That you attend all future court appearances and have no new criminal law violations. Update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes. And the address we have on file is on 51st Avenue South in Tukwila. Is that still a good mailing address?
Yes,
And I should say, I'm finding probable cause for 2 counts, and I should look at your I apologize, I was distracted looking at something. The issue I had with the police report is unless you've found a new, there's been a new one. 2 of them indicate there's an evidence of the theft itself. The other 2 were just possession of stolen property. There was no evidence that he
Okay.
committed the theft.
And do you happen to know which stores the problem?
Hudson News and Ex Officio. One was on video and one, I think, employees saw it.
And I don't have, it would take me a second to go through the report. I don't want to take up any time. I'm satisfied with the 2 probable cause findings. At this point, I'll have to take another look at that.
Did you charge them by the store?
Yes, I think if the complaint should, each count should.
Yeah, I got the complaints up now. Okay, so. No, it doesn't specify the store.
There should be so in this particular case, there was some confusion because the sector complaint was filed by me, but then no one, and it wasn't, we couldn't verify it was received by the court up until at least, I think, 10 a.m. We couldn't find it in the back office part of sector in our office. And so I also filed a written complaint, which the written complaint had the delineations of which account went to which business. So that's kind of confusing. So I did do it, but if you're looking in sector, I didn't do it in there.
I'm looking in sector.
But I can, I won't be any use.
If you can just tell me which counts those are. Do you have the complaint handy?
I have it in front of me right now.
Okay, which ones were ex officio and Hudson News?
3 is ex officio and 4 is Hudson.
Okay, so I'm finding no PC and releasing on 1 and 2.
3 and 4.
Sir, this doesn't affect your release at all. This is just the way the police report is written or badly written. Do you still receive mail at the address? I'm sorry, did I already ask you, do you receive mail at the address on 51st Avenue South in Tukwila?
No, cause I changed my address. Now I live in Des Moines.
Did you put that on the
Did not.
what is your new address?
22120.
It's, oh, is that in 28th?
Yeah, 28th Avenue South,
It's the other address in his
Des Moines, Washington 98198.
DOL.
Okay. And you will need to screen for the public defender before the next hearing. And that next hearing will be, I'll put it on the interpreter calendar, and I'm noting that we need a Chucky's interpreter. So that next hearing will be September 5th at 1:15 in the afternoon. And that will be a Zoom hearing like we're having now. If you don't have access to a phone or a computer, you can come to the courthouse and Zoom from here.
When?
September 7th at 1:15 in the afternoon.
And they'll give you paperwork with that on it.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. You can let the guards know you're all set.
So yeah, you can grab the officers and let them know we're ready for the next person.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have 2 more?
I believe so. What's your name, sir?
Mr. Daniel.
Oh, I need to go in a breakout room with Mr. Daniel. Mr. Daniel, you're gonna get an invitation to join a breakout room.
Okay.
Use the mouse, just hit join. And I'll see you there in a moment.
I'm stepping away 1 sec.
we're ready to address that case.
Okay. And go ahead with the arraignment.
And is your true and correct name du jour LJ Daniel? Oh, you remember you have to click on that little red microphone and unmute. There you go. So is that your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
And your date of birth is March 29th, 1992?
Yes, sir.
Earlier we went over your rights to arraignment. Any questions about those that I wasn't able to answer?
No, sir.
All right, I've gone over the charge, the maximum penalty, and mandatory minimum penalty. Would acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive formal reading, ask to enter plea of not guilty, and we are asking for a direct appointment.
If not guilty, will enter. I do find probable or did find probable cause to detain yesterday, and I will direct appoint. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
Thank you. The city's asking for bail in the amount of $10,000, asking for a formal no contact order, formal order to surrender weapons. And the basis, I guess, is twofold. One, I have a serious concern about the safety of the alleged victim in this case. What is alleged here is pretty egregious in my view. Represents an ongoing assault, not just a single isolated incident, including placing allegedly his hands around her neck, in addition to striking allegations. So there was also an indication or an alluding to prior domestic violence related assaults, given the similar situation that was laid out in this case, that there had been prior situations just like that. And based on that information, the alleged victim in this case knew that an assault was likely to happen in this case as well. So all that's in the context that Mr. Daniel has, in a pretty short amount of time, the last 8 or 9 years, amassed a pretty egregious domestic violence record as well. There are 2 convictions for no contact order, 1 Federal Way Municipal Court, 1 King County Superior Court, actually 3rd in the Tukwila Municipal Court, and then pending cases out of the Federal Way Municipal Court where there's not been a hearing yet for arraignment, but where there's been a probable cause finding for those facts as well. So this is all, and I think these are different victims as well. So I have grave concerns about the safety of the victim in this case, but also the ability to abide by conditions of release and appear, frankly, as well. So for all those prongs, I do believe that a higher than normal bail would be appropriate for Mr. Daniel.
And I'm confused by the Federal Way docket. It looks like they filed it a warrant, and it doesn't look like it was ever quashed, but it seems to be quashed. They filed it a probable cause warrant.
Well, it was, I think the last entry was made today, and that could very well be the quash.
Oh, maybe maybe it's been served.
Yeah, I think they use score.
Oh, okay. He's booked into it. He's held by Federal Way as well then.
Right,
Okay.
but it looked like it was an arrest warrant that was issued at the time of the filing of the charge, and that he's never appeared for an arraignment hearing. And I didn't mention though that there's 2 other cases where bail's been imposed already. So not Federal Way, a prior Federal Way case, the no contact order violation, and I believe Tukwila as well. I wasn't able to look up the Superior Court.
Any objection to those conditions?
Your Honor, I know Mr. Daniel is hoping the court releases him on his personal recognizance. It does not sound like there's any amount of bail he can afford. He's indicated he can abide by a no contact order, does not possess any firearms. He does not need a civil standby, and he's indicated he would show up for court and can abide by the conditions of not having contact with the alleged victim.
Now, I also have a major finger surgery coming up on the 24th, and I've been waiting on the waiting list for 6 months. As you can see, my index finger can't bend. I have a tendon surgery on the 24th with Dr. Friedrich at Harborview Medical, and I will show up for court, I promise. But I would just really love to make that appointment.
Well, we'll set a hearing in this. I'm going to impose bail in the amount of $10,000. I have serious concerns for victim safety in this case, based on the allegations and the history. Her allegation that this is not an isolated incident. I further don't believe you'll abide by conditions of release because you already have 2 convictions for violating no contact orders. So I don't think a no contact order will be sufficient.
Can I please make my appointment? I'm so sorry.
We're gonna set a hearing before that, and we'll, if you provide proof and some information, we can, I'll certainly take that into account.
My doctor's name is Dr. Friedrich, and it's at Harborview Medical.
I'm
and
not gonna contact your doctor.
I know, but I'm so sorry. It's July 24th is my
We're gonna set a
appointment.
hearing for July 20th, which is before that, and we can address it at that hearing. You can maybe get some information to your attorney. Additional conditions are that you attend all future court appearances, have no new criminal law violations, update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes, have no contact with Joan Ballesteros. Do not own or possess any firearms, and abide by any and all no contact orders. Do you, so then turning to the order to surrender, is he asserting his Fifth Amendment rights, or?
He doesn't possess any firearms, right?
And then turning to the no contact order, I'm signing a contact order indicating that you have, you are to have no contact with Joan Ballesteros. No contact means absolutely no contact, sir. No text messages, social media, phone calls, passing a message through a friend, waving across a parking lot, nothing. She cannot give you permission to have contact. That would still be a violation of this order. This is this court's no contact order. It will stay in full force and effect until it has been lifted or modified by this court and no other court. All right, we'll see you back here on Thursday. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do you need to talk to Mr. Tice, or have you already talked to
No,
him?
I've talked to Mr. Tice and Mr. Zeno. I don't think we've addressed Zeno yet, right?
Oh, I guess.
Can I talk to my lawyer right quick?
Well, I'll talk to you before your next court date.
Okay.
Can you let the guards know that you're all done with court? Thank you.
Okay. How you doing, Judge Miss Pauline?
Okay, how are you?
How you
Mr.
doing? I'm
Zeno?
sorry. Yes,
Hi.
Seat, sir. This is Kevin Zeno, or Kevin Zeno, 380-355-483. He's hoping just to address the bail. It sounds like he lost his paperwork, which is why he didn't know his court date. He indicated that he did contact the police to turn himself in on this matter, because he didn't know where else to reach out to, because he wasn't sure which court to contact.
and I can assure you that I would make it to this one. And I got to follow up with Mr. Davis. I got paperwork, proof that I'm employed.
Don't talk about the facts of the case right now. You're on the record.
Sorry.
And does the city have any objection to releasing Mr. Zeno with a new court date?
1 second, please.
And probable cause was previously found on April 17.
And I guess what I'm looking at is whether or not the city asked for bail at the arraignment hearing. It's hard for me to tell. We do have a III. I did send the III contents to the court and to Mr. Iannotti. But looking at this, I guess I don't know whether the III was received after the bail hearing on April 17th or before. And I can't confirm whether or not the city asked for bail at the initial hearing. That would help a little bit. So that's the reason for the delay. I certainly have some serious concerns about his ability to appear or abide by conditions of release. He has a very serious criminal history out of Louisiana.
Can I also say something, Mr. Jason?
Probation, parole violations, many convictions, many bench warrants. So I do certainly have a concern here, and he did have notice in hand, but so I would probably be leaning towards asking for bail at this point.
At the moment, Prosecutor Jason, I would like to state that I live right down the street from the courthouse, and I would like to state that I have changed my past criminal history, and if I be prosecuted to stay in custody, I would be losing my residence and my job. Everything I work hard for since I've been in Seattle.
When is the most recent conviction out of state?
My recent.
Oh, no, hang on. I'm asking Mr. Mercer.
Sure, it starts 2008, goes pretty consistently to November 1st, 2022. It's an obscenity allegation. There's no disposition on it, but there's let's see, another charge from December 2021 that appears to be a decline, but there was history up through 2021. There's one from 2022.
When is the most recent conviction out of state?
That we're aware of, 2000, there was a bench warrant 2016. It's hard to say what the convictions are. A lot of them don't have disposition, so there's no way to tell what happened with a lot of the cases on really anyone's III unless it says conviction.
It sounds like most of these are misdemeanors. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
there's parole violations for first-degree robbery, 2014, fugitive.
First degree robbery,
Life from officer,
parole.
false imprisonment with a dangerous weapon, DV 2016.
Your Honor, it's
Battery of a
2024.
2017. Those don't sound like misdemeanors to me.
Those don't.
That was 10 years. That was my past juvenile life, Your Honor. I am 33 years old now, 32 years old now. I have a changed life in Seattle, Washington. If I stay in custody today and wait to prove guilty to a misdemeanor that I am innocent of, I work at the airport, I would lose my apartment and also my job. Everything I worked for since I've been in Seattle, I'm gonna lose everything, including my whole family. I don't have nothing.
Mr. Zeno, based on the nature of this charge, I will give you one more chance to appear out of custody, but this is it. If you don't come to court, I will not PR you again. You must come to court. You've just told me you live down the street from the.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I do, Miss Paulina. I'm sorry, Judge Paulina.
So, Mr. Zeno, I'm Judge Freund. That's the prosecutor is Mr. Mercer. Your attorney is Mr. Iannotti. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll set this on for an out of custody pre-trial hearing on August 1st at 8:30 in the morning.
Thank you.
All the previously imposed conditions remain in full force and effect. One of those conditions is that you update your address with the court. That's not optional. That's something you have to do. You clearly have not done it because we still have an address on Yesler Way in Seattle.
Okay.
What is your new address?
My new address is the same one. It never changed. It's always been the 23 Yesler's Way apartment, 823.
So that's nowhere near the courthouse.
I thought that was a court. They had a courthouse like
that's the King County Courthouse. This is SeaTac Municipal.
All right, so that's King County and this SeaTac.
Correct.
All right, I'm familiar with it. I done learned so much about Seattle. I'm so familiar with it. So SeaTac, I got you. I'll
The
be there.
address- The address for the court will be on the top of the paperwork you get.
Okay, so this is out of custody, right?
Yes, but sir, if you don't come to court, I will issue a higher warrant
Yes,
and I will
ma'am.
not PR you again.
I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I promise, Judge. I promise. It won't happen. And you say it's August the 8th, right?
August 1st at
August-
8:30 in the morning.
August 1st at 8. Okay, so that's next month. All right, thank you.
Right, though it's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly 2 weeks.
Right. Well, 2 weeks from tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you later, Mr. Davis.
I think the iPad is going to see Mr. Tice. And that's our last one.
Oh, a bunch of cases got added since I entered this one. So I thought he had more reviews than that.
Here's Mr. Tice.
Mr. Tice, you want to join us for court? I've been walking around earlier, so.
Morning, Mr. Tice, or good afternoon, Mr. Tice.
Take a seat here until I get your paperwork.
You're gonna join us? You get up?
Mr. Tice, you have court.
Good morning, Mr. Tice. Are you ready for court?
So
You want to have court tomorrow, Mr. Tice?
and I asked him, he said he was okay with doing it today.
Can you answer me, Mr. Tice? Are you ready for court?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead with the arraignment.
Is your true and correct name Jason Tyler Tice?
Yes.
And your date of birth is July 18th, 1982?
Yes.
Earlier, we went over your rights at arraignment. Any questions about your rights at arraignment?
No.
Your Honor, I've gone over the charge, the maximum penalty, and the mandatory minimum penalty. Would acknowledge to the complaint waived from a reading as under plea of not guilty, and we are asking for a direct appointment.
If not guilty, will enter. I do find probable cause to detain and I will direct a point. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
Yes, city's asking for a bail amount of $500. He's on sentencing conditions and 6 SeaTac Municipal Court cases involving the Port of Seattle. At least one of those is a bail issued at arraignment. Same thing applies. I don't think we're going to abide by conditions of release in this case.
What is the defense, the objection to conditions?
Your Honor, obviously we'd ask for Mr. Tice's release, but we're just hoping that the court sets a date probably on Wednesday or Thursday this week.
I'm finding by probable cause that conditions of sentence on the review matters have been violated, specifically returning to the airport and new criminal law violation that warrant bail being imposed on those cases as well. I'm going to impose bail in the amount of $500 each case. And we will set this on Thursday. Additional conditions, sir, are that you attend all future court appearances, have no new criminal law violations, update your address with the court and DOL immediately if there are any changes. And we have an address on Lake Cushman Road in Hoodsport. Is that still a good mailing address? Do you still receive mail there, Mr. Tice?
No.
Do you have anywhere you can receive mail?
The Compass Center?
Okay. And no returning to the airport or the rental car facility except for valid travel purposes. Mr. Tice, this is your, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your 7th case for doing this. You will be arrested. You go right back to score. Do not go back to the airport.
I can talk to the kitchen officer, try and break something down. Right now, I'm still booking people.
And we'll see you back here then on Thursday on the 20th.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, thank you. Get a good night's sleep. Ready for tomorrow? All right.
Bye.
Bye.